So this morning on the conversation table, we're looking at recent developments within the Apapa corridor. Just to let you know that over the weekend, Mr. Governor set up a traffic enforcement team on resolving the Apapa gridlock. All right. So Mr. Olajide Sanwo-Olu did that. He approved the constitution of a special traffic management and enforcement compliance team to tackle traffic gridlock around Apapa axis. Now, members of the team are special advisor to the governor on transportation. That's Tony Fayenka. All right. He's leading the team. General Manager, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASTMA. I'm talking about Engineer Olajide Oduyoye. Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Central Business District. We're talking about Shola Giwa, as well as Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Political Security Intelligence. And we're referring to Ayodeji Laurent. Now, the statement by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, stated that the team is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring zero tolerance for traffic offenders and a seamless traffic management system specifically designed to restore sanity in and around Apapa axis. And that's going to be the focus on the program this morning, because I have one of the members of that team joining us to look at this. So we're trying to see how we end the gridlock in Apapa, the Lagos State government remedy. And joining me right now, Engineer Olajide Oduyoye, General Manager for LASTMA. Nice to have you back in the building. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Victor. And how are you today?
Very good, very good. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we will talk extensively about this special traffic management and enforcement compliance thing. But let's first dwell a little bit on LASTMA and your agency. How are things faring with traffic management, by the way?
Well, things are pretty okay to a certain degree. Of course, we had the big saga of Third Bendham Bridge.
Over the weekend?
Before the weekend, there was a change of business that restricted movement to Adekunle axis in the afternoon. So that was a bit of still ongoing fun, if I want to put it that way. I know some people probably attack me like, I cannot call that fun.
Right.
And then you now have the total closure over the weekend, but that wasn't uncommon. I mean, we've had similar closures twice in the last few months, so it really wasn't a big deal. And the good thing is, whilst the contractor said they were going to take 72 hours, we were happy that they were able to do it in 48 hours. So the bridge was open for traffic from yesterday as opposed to this morning.
Which is good. All right, then I'm talking about these closures and the management of traffic. What kind of structures do you guys put in place, to help out during those periods when we have this kind of total lockdowns?
Well, basically, the whole of Lagos State is covered by what you will call an operating zone within LASTMA. And so whenever something happens, or there's closure, or there's diversion, or there's accident and everything, the zone in question that covers the immediate area would be responsible for managing the traffic. And the Third Mainland Bridge or any other traffic area where we have impediments, it's not different. So the structure that we put in place is when something happens, then the zone that covers that area or adjoining zones, they join together and they come out and they begin to put things in place to make sure that they manage traffic as best as possible. The difficulty that a lot of people or a lot of listeners do not understand is the road capacity that we have is limited compared to the number of those
vehicles
of us that need to be on the road.
Okay.
All right. It's not even just for vehicles, because the road needs to be used by everyone. There are certain areas, like you go to K2, you go to Ojota, and you find that the human traffic itself is a vehicular traffic impediment. But the human traffic have a right to use the road as well. They have a right to do business. They have a right to do X, Y, Z. So the roads in itself is not just made for motorists. So when motorists complain vehemently about traffic hold up and everything, in a way they don't understand that there are other road users who have a right to use the road, and that can cause delay too.
All right, let's now begin to switch gears now and focus on this new assignment which Mr. Governor has given your team. Is the special traffic management and enforcement compliance team. Let's talk about that. What's the idea behind Mr. Governor setting up this team for Apapa?
Well, the idea is not too far-fetched. You might recall that Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had taken the Apapa issue personally, all right? And anything to do with traffic, like the one that we all suffer around the Apapa axis, sort of like hits into the number one theme, which is traffic management and keeping traffic flow going in Lagos State. Because if traffic is not moving, the economy is affected.
Right.
And so when he had visited Apapa, it's not like he was just astonished as to the level of the obstruction that is going on in there. And also recall that the presidential task force on the Apapa gridlock thing had finished their assignment, and they've dropped the baton, so somebody needed to pick it up. And that baton fell into the hands of Lagos State. And the governor has decided that, okay, the best way to deal with this thing is to set up a committee to look at the intricacies of what is going on around the Apapa. And he formed the committee, like you mentioned, the names of those that are there.
Right.
And our job, basically, is to ensure law and order in the Apapa axis. It should not be confused with the operations of the port terminal.
Okay. So
Right.
it's not the same.
It is not. We are not interested in what is going on in the port per se.
Right.
What we're interested in is to understand what they are doing, how they want to do it, and to give them advice if what they are planning to do is likely to invade the public highway around the Apapa, of which we are supposed to manage to make sure that there's law and order.
All right, so let's get to that now, because that has been the issue over the years. The port access roads have always had lots of congestions due to articulated vehicles parking indiscriminately, some that are coming to Lagos without invitation. So what are some of the things that you have noticed, or what did the governor notice when he visited, Apapa to have an on-site visit?
What he noticed is just pretty simple, that like you said, there are too many articulated trucks parked on the highway, on bridges. And the bridges anywhere in the world are not meant for static load. And that is what is going on. And there are all sorts of excuses that has come up. We've had stakeholder meetings, and everyone is coming up with their own angle as to this is the reason why it is happening. There's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of people just sitting down there thinking this is the way it should be, and it is not the way it should be.
Right.
And so basically what we're saying is, like, the ports, the Apapa port is there to stay. It's part of our country, it's part of the economy, it's part of everything, all right? But we're saying is there are concessionaires that have been given license to operate within the ports. Let them do what they have to do. And basically, this thing is a simple maths. If you have capacity to turn over 20, 100, 200 vehicles within the ports, those are the only vehicles that should be rolling. I am not talking about waiting, rolling on the road towards the port. If you're going to discharge another 200 from the port because they've now become laden, they should be rolling out on the roads, rolling away from Lagos or wherever they need to go.
There must be a kind of special arrangement that should be placed that would inform the trucks to say, well, these ones are going out, another set can come in.
Yes, there must be, because our mandate is to make sure that any trucks around the Apapa axis is rolling. And I want to emphasize, as in you're rolling. If you're not rolling, it's because you're at a traffic light junction. Right? The Apapa port rolls, access to it, around it, mile 2, wherever you want to look, it's not a parking bay.
Right.
And so even if you break down because you don't care about the state of a vehicle, or you don't care about other road users, and you think like it's business as usual, you don't look after your vehicle, you keep it on the road and it breaks down, we will take it away for you.
All right, so let's look at the intricacies that are involved in this, because I know it's not just about traffic management here. We're having lots of dynamics to the ports and the Apapa access corridor. How is the government thinking of tackling that? Because at the moment, the parking lots or the holding bays doesn't appear to be visible. So how are you going to be tackling that?
Well, there are two things that has happened recently that Mr. Governor is got a first hand in it. And the first one, because this situation is being looked at holistically. You might recall that about a week or less than 2, the Honorable Commissioner and the Special Advisor on Transportation, we all had a stakeholder meeting with the truck owners and those who are interested in, or those who have vested interest in the truck movement.
Right.
And there's the existing law or traffic law that actually bans the movement of trucks and everything between 9 a.m. between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.
And 9 p.m.
All right. And so when we put that into perspective, it means the regular road users should be saved from the onslaught of truck movement during the peak period of morning peak and evening peak. All right? So once that kicks in place, that begins to put things into a bit of perspective. And so when you have truck movement between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m., it's a little bit more manageable. So you can know that where you're going. So by the time you're doing your call-up from the ports, everyone that is an enforcement agency that knows what's going on knows these trucks that are coming into Lagos, they have a specific area that they're going. Because if after 6 a.m.
right,
and you're caught stagnant on the roads, then you're likely to be taken away, to be towed away.
What about the collaboration with Nigerian Ports Authority, for instance? Because some of these delays that you find where trucks are lined up on the route towards the port, it's as a result of congestion inside the port itself. So what are you guys going to be doing about that?
We are not going to be doing anything about what they are doing inside. That's their business. And it's the truth. That is their business. You're doing your business, you do your business, right? You cannot be operating above your capacity. We shouldn't mess around with this sort of situation. Don't operate above your capacity. And do not call up trucks that you cannot attend to. It's very simple. Okay. If you know you cannot deal with it, don't call them in. And so whatever is happening within the port is their business. They want to do what they need to do. They will do what they need to do.
Right. So have you had that engagement with NPA, for instance?
No, we will do that. I mean, don't forget, we only just got our committee set up.
Right.
Recently, we got letters this week and everything. So that's part of the plan before we kickstart. So we're going to have a meeting with the Port Authority. We're going to have a meeting with the unions. We're going to have a meeting with the stakeholders. And the meeting is just to identify ourselves and to reiterate the purpose of which the committee was set up, and to ensure that everybody understands what our mandate is, and to make sure that we do not have issues of misunderstanding when we begin to do what we're supposed to do. And so before one is to perform, do you understand? People need to understand what is going on. The days of pretense and lying to each other should come to an end.
Right.
It's either we tackle this or we don't. We cannot be talking about Apapa year in, year out, year in, year out. And every time you go out on the road, you're seeing stagnant trucks and trailers parked on residential streets.
Right.
It's unacceptable.
Okay, I have something here, because somebody is saying here that, well, it's not the first time, just like you said now, it's not the first time that we're having this special team, or we've had a task force in the past to look at unraveling the gridlock at Apapa. And somebody's asking the question, is it not going to be a case of same script, different cast?
I expect that kind of comment to come up from someone. I mean, that is life. If you've suffered for so long, you begin to doubt anything that any arm of government wants to do. I mean, that is natural. I can understand that. But the point is, the option of doing nothing is not on the table.
Okay.
So we keep on trying. That is why we're alive. Every time you do something, you try your best to go and improve. At least you have a mandate. You have aim. You have a mission.
Right.
And you keep on striving to achieve. And it doesn't mean there won't be difficulties. It doesn't mean the risk will not be there. It doesn't mean challenges would not come. But the point is, we will focus. So right now, the focus is keep the trucks away from all roads. Stagnant trucks, keep them away. You want to go to the port? Go to the port. You want to go and park somewhere? Go to the park that is there. If these two are not available,
right,
don't bother to come to the Apapa axis.
All right, let me bring this to your attention. Some of the task forces that have been set up in the past have been criticized, or perhaps they've been labeled as, teams that rather did some sharp practices. Okay, so we've had of situations whereby task force in the past would rather, get in the corrective tendencies of allowing some trucks in with some kickbacks and all of that. Some will have to drive against the flow of traffic with the support of, the uniformed personnel and all of that. So how are you going to be handling this?
Well, a major factor of the committee is the required police personnel that will be directly working with the committee, not independently. That is the mission. And so the enforcement arm is going to be there to support the other enforcement officers in case we have elements or part of the equation that wants to fight back and say, no, you cannot tow my truck, no, you cannot keep me away from the road, etc. Those sort of things are expected, and that's why we're going to rely solely on the police to give that sort of security backing. All right? Now, the issue of sharp practices, it's not something that I feel I'm empowered to be discussing right now.
Right.
A lot of people say the sharp practice or whatever. A lot of people get accused about so many things. If there's anything that is untoward or whatever, then you have the civil courts and everything to go and make a challenge.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean I am not aware of the possibility. All right. But I can only speak for the crop of officers that are being mandated by Mr. Governor in this committee.
All right.
And our job also is to ensure that all officers that work with us, that we understand the meaning of integrity, that we understand the meaning of delivery, that we understand the meaning of staying above water, that we understand the meaning of maintaining your family name, that we understand that everything in life is not about money, because you can have all the millions in the world. If you have a stained name, it will affect you, your family, and your children. If it's not today, it's going to be tomorrow.
Right.
One way or the other, the money would not replace the shame that will come upon you. Money is not everything.
All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, ending the gridlock in Apapa. The Lagos State Remedy is our focus this morning, and our guest is Engineer Olajide Oduyoye. He's General Manager for LASTMA. We're looking at the government set up special team on enforcement and compliance for Apapa gridlock. And of course, he's part of that team, and we're looking into that this morning. Okay, then, so let's see if we can extend the discourse beyond the studios. Are you optimistic, and how excited are you about this particular team, especially as it relates to resolving the gridlock in Apapa? And of course, if you do business within the Apapa corridor, what do you make of this? Should this be a welcome development for you? Is this going to be the end of the gridlocks that you are used to? And how do you think this will really help your business? It's part of the government's drive on the ease of doing business in Apapa. All right, so you can share your thoughts with us. 08099120777. That's the numbers to connect with us. Hello there, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
All right, what's your name?
This is Jeff from Ogba.
Jeff.
Yes, please, from Ogba.
All right, then what's your contribution?
Yeah, engineer, I heard what you have been discussing. I want to say something. It's a welcome development.
Okay.
But don't you think, based on what you have said so far and what you have looked into your research, and how do you want to put this in place? These are questions that I just actually want you to answer. Because, like you said, there must be. We still have corrupt agents. We still have corrupt people, corrupt officers who definitely will allow these trucks to park by the roadside. Now, Kashala tried his best to do that. I actually know that. I followed him. And it didn't work. Are you sure, very, very sure, that this that you want to put in place by this present government will actually work?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's another question. You want to know the confidence level of the workability of this particular team. All right. We'll take all the calls, put them together, and then we'll allow Engineer Oduyoye to respond to it. 08099120777. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Gap. I'm calling from Aja right now.
All right, Jav from Aja.
What our government did to us, they should help us out at this Thomas. These people now, they are parking, they are loading there now, and they are spoiling the road. You know, the traffic is from Adu. That from Adu to Aja. Something that will not take us 5 minutes. We will now use 1 hour plus 2 hours.
Okay.
This is bad. Please, I'll send you a picture of what is happening there.
Okay, you said the place is at where? Thomas?
Thomas, yes, at Aja. Coming from Badore Road and Adu. Everybody is fasting. Why are they doing this early morning?
Okay, so you have
when is okay period now?
okay, you said you have tipper trucks there parking.
Yes, they are loading sand inside and they will be coming out. They will stop us and delaying us.
Okay.
This is bad. This
right.
early morning, someone is going to work. Oh.
Okay then, thank you so much. The LASTMA general manager is here, is listening. I'm sure that he's going to activate the structures within that end to also see how that can be resolved. 0809-912-0777. Numbers to connect with us. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Victor.
All right. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. This is Sean from Agodo.
I didn't get your name.
This is Sean from Agodo.
Oh, Sean. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
All right. Go ahead.
So, yeah, pertaining to that allows the Apapa gridlock.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the previous caller said, other governments have tried, other parties, every other establishment have tried.
Mm.
The only thing I can say is if you can do people policing. So just like what they did at Allen Roundabout, you put up lights, you put up a control room, set up CCTV cameras, let everybody police themselves. You can't keep on saying only a section of people that monitor what's happening, or just going to take control of that access. It's a community thing. People living in Apapa, the security forces, everybody should need to give accountability for themselves. Who gives accountability when the policemen or the security forces start, taking laws into their own hands?
Okay.
The control room. Put up CCTV cameras. So you can also watch by yourselves what is happening there. Don't just put officers there, then nobody can report or say, oh, this is happening here, this is not happening here. See for yourself. I think that's the way for technology.
Okay.
You can't keep on using people to man this Apapa. I don't know, I was born 19, I can't, more than 40 years now. My father was talking about Apapa. My great-grandfather spoke about Apapa. I'm here now, people speak about Apapa. It is not fair.
Okay.
It's not fair.
All right. Maybe that's the reason why Mr. Governor is taking this headlong to see how this can be resolved. You guys have said it. We must have had a series of task force set up in the past, but Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is keen at putting an end to the misery people have within that corridor. Let's hear from you. 08099120777. Hello there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, my boss. How are you, sir?
Very good. Who are we speaking with?
It's Engineer Joseph.
Nice to hear from you, Engineer Joseph.
God bless you. Good morning, Engineer.
It's greeting you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I want to. We all know that what happened in Apapa tamper with the infrastructural development and the economic development of that area. I was born and grown up in the Apapa area. And up till now, I think when we are talking about having trucks on the residential area, our whole area within the Ajebule Wina area was local. So thank God for this development anyway. But my question is this, sir. We're talking about Apapa. Are we considering the road from Ijero Lopa linking area B in Water Apapa as well? Because it's everyday business. I'm afraid whenever I'm using that 7-Up bridge, sir, I'm always afraid. I engage myself in Psalm 23. You know why, sir? That bridge being there, every day truck will be there, standstill of that truck. And we have wisdom there before the total diversion towards the Marine Beach. So I want to know if this area as well is going to put in consideration, or only from my future Papa alone, or we're going to put the general Papa as well into consideration. It's very necessary. All
right, then. Thank you very much. God bless you too. Let's respond to some of these questions and some of these concerns that are raised. And Oduyoye.
The first question was Well, someone was just now.
Confidence level.
Yes.
He's saying, "Are we sure this will resolve it?"
There's
Jeff.
nothing. I must be honest. There's nothing called "Are we sure?" It is only when you've done something and you've looked at it, you've monitored it, you've evaluated it, and you've gotten success before you can say, "I am sure." Right? What we're saying is, we are going to give it a blast. We're going to give it a good try. We have the situation in front of us, and no one is lying about the challenge that really is there. Okay? But I am saying that do nothing is not an option.
Okay.
Okay? So we all involved in order to monitor ourselves. What we're targeting and aiming is zero tolerance of whatever bad thing that is going on.
Right, indiscriminate parking on the roads. Yes. And all of that.
And so if you now go through what needs to be done, then once the governor is involved, once the political support is there and the financial muscle is there to back it up, then things will change. So the issue of technology is very apt. I mean, you cannot put really the way we have.
So you share Sean's sentiments?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only way, because it's easier for me to monitor from the safety of a screen than for me to stand on the road and for someone to come and stone me because I want to remove his car. All right? And then I would have proper evidence. So it's not like, oh, I just broke down for 2 minutes and why you just towing me? No, it's not 2 minutes. You've been parked there for 2 hours. Right. But it is technology that will capture that. So the thing is, once the perpetrators of all these obstructions begin to know that something would happen, there's going to be a consequence, all right? They will change attitude.
Okay.
I'm not saying it will change 100%, but at least a lot of them will change attitude, because there's no money being made right now. If you're not being told where you're going to be paying money that you've not made, right, you'll think twice.
Okay, so Jaff from the Ajah corridor is worried about tippers parking indiscriminately, stopping them from moving somewhere around Thomas in Ajah. I hope you'll be able to send your men to that location as well.
Yes, we will.
All right. You've answered Sean's concern. It says people policing and community should take responsibility in order to save their Apapa gridlock as well. Okay, then. Who else again? Engineer Joseph is talking about certain areas. He said, are we considering the road from Ijora Lokba?
Oh, yes,
to 7
definitely. And don't forget, like I mentioned earlier on, about the restrictions on the route movement for trucks. Ijora Lokba, which means coming via Ikorodu Road, is not available for truck movement from the border of Lagos with Ogun State towards the port.
All right.
It is
that is not the route for trucks, right?
Apapa Oshodi, through Oroshoki, Apapa Oshodi that you're supposed to use.
Right.
And so we should see some changes. And on that, everything is about understanding and enforcement.
Right.
And compliance. You see, the business must go on. The government is not saying business must not go on. Business must go on. But business should not go on at the expense of others. And that is what it is. We've got to manage ourselves together. And the way the reason why I'm being optimistic about how things can develop is that once the rail network is done, all right? Once the rail network is done and we now add rail freight to this system, then the issue of overdependence on trucks is going to change, because it's not economical anyway. All right, all that's going to change. So if you even have passenger train, it means those that are complaining about access to the ports, they would now can rely on trains to go to their homes or to go to work. So things are working. Things are working.
Okay, then. Lagos Traffic Radio, 96.1 FM. A brief break. When we return, we take the last set of calls before we wrap up things on the program this morning. Lagos Traffic Radio, 96.1 FM, your side mirror, and gradually we're winding to the end this morning, but some of you are still connecting with us, and I have this one. Jude on WhatsApp says, what measures will be put in place to stop extortion from traffic officers within Apapa? All right, so that's the question for Engineer Oduyoye. Tunde Okoya, also connected with us on Twitter, says, when is the third mainland bridge going to be finally and fully opened to traffic? All right. Well, according to the schedule that they're working with from the Federal Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, Works and Housing, actually, they're hoping for a February 22nd date. Okay, let's see how we meet up with that schedule. All right, then 08099120777. Let's take the last set of calls before we wrap up things on the program this morning. You have any questions for Engineer Oduyoye this morning? Feel free to connect with us. Hello there.
Hello, Victor. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, Elijah speaking.
Elijah, how are you doing?
Very fine, thank you. And you?
Very
Good morning,
good.
engineer.
Good morning to you, Elijah.
Yeah. I'm calling presently from Oduyoye State.
Okay.
Victor, I'm always happy whenever I hear a law put in place. But another thing we always ask is about the implementation.
Right.
You know, we have had this law for a very quite long time in Lagos State, but the enforcement was not so strong that the trailers will be moving late in the night and close earlier in the morning before the morning rush hour starts.
Mm-hmm.
But the implementation then was not strong. And now the law is back again. I hope the Lagos State government now will try every possible best to make sure that this law is in stand. Because this trailer of it, we are talking even about the downfall guys. These trailer guys, they are even more stubborn than the downfall guys. You understand? A lot of things have happened in this Lagos State caused by these trailer guys.
Right.
Please, if they will try, and even inside the streets where they park, I hope the enforcement will be strong this time. Thank you very much. Have
All
a
right
nice
then.
day.
Thank you so much. Elijah is of the opinion that he hopes the enforcement will really go the next hub this time around. Okay then. So let's respond to this and let's begin to take this home. Engineer Oduyoye, measures. Somebody is asking about measures that you guys will put in place to curtail extortion from traffic officers.
Well, if it's to do with officers that are going to be working on the road within the new committee they set up, we're going to monitor ourselves, all right? I did mention about integrity and staining of names and everything. In a way, if one needs to be truthful, you cannot rule that out entirely. And this is the reason why. Some people are born not to have interest in doing the right thing. They're always looking to cut corners. And it's not just about the officers that are involved, it's also about business interests. As we're speaking, there are people who are already in their minds adamant they will do everything to bribe and hoping they will find a weak fish that would accept the bribe. And that is where the chain of events starts.
Right.
And after a while, when that is going on and is not curtailed or checked, then those who have been righteous will begin to feel that maybe in a way they are foolish. And then they will now, even now, instead of waiting to be bribed, they will now be extorting.
Right.
Seriously. So it's a major thing for us to deal with as a people in this our environment. And we need to speak to ourselves. So every time someone comes home, your husband or wife and everything, we need to speak to each other. And because you see, this change of attitude of as a people needs to come from the home, needs to come from within. But we will put structures in place to checkmate ourselves. And I urge all those that are concerned, all those that want progress for these states, to take it upon themselves to report all these sort of situations. Even if you suspect, report it so that if it's investigated, if there's any truth in it, then we can curb it. But if we all keep quiet and say, oh, I don't want to get him in trouble, I don't want an officer to lose his job, all those sort of unnecessary sentiments, that is why everything has gone unchecked, because we keep on hoping, but we don't take any action.
Right.
I cannot monitor 1,500 officers spread across the Apapa axis. It is a person who is being extorted that will cry out loud like, no, you cannot spoil this job. You will not extort from me and I'm going to report you. And that is why we're all going to be identified. Names will be on everybody. So anybody who is hiding his name, his identity,
right,
is a potential thief.
All right, then. So I'm sure that in the days to come, you'll be able to bring us some numbers and the lines that people can connect with if they see anything that is wrong on those routes.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, then. So we have to end it here. Let me say a very big thank you to you for making it through to the program this morning. Your parting thought to our listeners this morning, sir?
Well, I'll just say to you guys, no matter what you set up, the government can only mean well. But any success from any government entity can only be down to the people themselves.
Right.
It's either you cooperate, you support, you pray, and you make sure you are not one of those that want to scupper the purpose of which anything was set up by the government.
Okay, then. So we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I've been speaking with the General Manager for LASTMA, Engineer Olajide Oduyoye, and we're looking at this special assignment by Mr. Governor to rid Apapa of the gridlocks and, of course, to ensure that we have ease of doing business within that corridor. We have to go now. The program has been produced by Korede Bamishile. Maximum thanks to Philip Akinwara, Kayode Mafolashere, Mubosola Kasali, and, of course, our executive producer, Tayo Akonle. All right, I'll leave you with the words of Kelly Miller this morning. He says, I see that the path of progress has never taken a straight line, but has always been a zigzag course amidst the conflicting forces of right, wrong, truth and error, justice and injustice, cruelty and mercy. All right, then, so we'll leave it at that for now.